my stepfather was a sorcerer and he did animal sacrifice. And so explaining that, especially like when I was like in high school, like why there is things carved into my tree out front, or why there was a squirrel.
You are listening to Spicy Bananas podcast, where nothing's off limits and everything's on the table. From body confidence to bizarre, we are here. And we go where others won't. I shouldn't.
Yeah. But we will. We're your hosts, B1 and B2, two adult store veterans turned podcasters, making the awkward, hilarious, and eye-opening combos way more normal.
Well, yeah, normal. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Today's guest is Heather Danielle, a psychic medium mentor helping the spiritual curious embrace their gifts without the fluff. She's the host of the Spiritual AF Life podcast, founder of the Spiritual Life University, and author of Anxiety, the Angels. Heather's here to talk about the woo, but also to debunk it, from ghost sex. Yeah, I said that. That's cool. Can't wait. To the spirit world's sense of humour. It's about to get weird, wonderful, and totally real. Okay, so welcome.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I'm super excited about this.
So do spirits actually, do they actually see us in the shower?
Do they? Yes. Okay.
Did you say
okay?
Yes?
All right. So just straight up, yes, they can, right?
Oh,
but they totally can. They totally can. But the thing is that if you're, well, actually, if I was like haunting my ex or something like that, maybe I would want to watch them in the shower. But the thing is that they actually see us more as energy than actually as our own, like, you know, like our own vessel, if you will.
They
like
don't see boobs and things.
Yeah,
excellent.
Yes, exactly. Because I was doing a mediumship class. I was being taught mediumship, and we went into a meditation, and I accidentally went to the other side. But before I did, my eyes were still open. So this was not like in my mind. This was literally with my own eyeballs. I seen people's bodies disintegrate in front of me, and they looked like the little AOL guy. Do you remember AOL, the little like yellow dude? And he looks kind of just like an outline of a person, and he was like yellow.
Yep.
That's what everybody looked like.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, so we just take the form of our vessel. So the truth is that yes, technically they can, but they see us more as energy. But you know what I do? Anytime that I'm like in the shower or I'm doing something, like maybe I'm like romancing with my man or whatever.
I was going to say that or masturbating, one or the other.
I don't want to take any chances. so I say, hey, it's human time. You need to leave if you're here.
Okay.
Doing that.
Noted.
Does that make you feel better or not?
I think I'm weird. I'm in the shower going, it's human time. I'm about to save my legs and this isn't pretty.
Yes.
No, because
so
technically you got to bend over when you shave your legs.
It's not my favourite.
No.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I do that all the time. My husband's like, what's going on? What are you saying? And I say it out loud because sometimes I feel like if you say it out loud, it has like more meaning, more intention behind it.
Yeah.
But even though I know that they basically don't see our bodies, they basically just see our energy. It's just like, just in case, you know, I take the chance.
Yeah.
Thanks for debunking that real quick too.
Yeah, I've noted that now.
We'll sell more toys at work now.
Yeah.
They can't actually see you.
No.
It's like a fairy thing.
Yeah.
But you know, there could be some hot ghosts, and maybe you want to bring them in too.
Maybe they're clearing their vision, going.
Yes, exactly. Be like, hey, if you like what you see, you can come into the shower with me.
I'm taking a stool in the shower, not as in toilet.
Oh.
What's the weirdest spiritual question someone's ever asked you? And we haven't fully asked all the questions yet, so it could end up being a question at the end too.
Yeah.
But what's the weirdest question?
Oh my gosh. So far, I'm thinking that you guys are going to take the cake, like, to be honest with you. If I had to think about it, I would say, like, my stepfather was a sorcerer and he did animal sacrifice. And so explaining that, especially like when I was like in high school, like why there is things carved into my tree out front, or why there was a squirrel, you know, screwed or nailed to the tree, you know, because we were sacrificing that animal, which I don't agree with, but I was a kid and this was many years ago. This is like in the 90s. And then having to explain that was really hard. Or why I grew up on 8 Mile. So I'm not sure if you guys heard of 8 Mile, Detroit or whatever.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like the hood, it's gangster, right? It's not out in the middle of nowhere. And here I am, 13, 14 years old, taking a freaking box from the garage for my stepfather into the house, and a live chicken pops out and starts like running around the house because he's going to sacrifice him that night to do a love spell for this guy. And I'm like, oh my God. And we lived on like a busy street, and so all my friends would like be walking by my freaking house, and like there my stepfather is doing another spell. There's like, or he's playing with shanais. If you guys don't know what those are like swords. Yeah, kind of like sword like things. And so now we're practicing out in the front lawn, and I am like, I'm a cheerleader. I'm a varsity cheerleader. We're good. We're doing all these things, and then my friends are all like, so what's going on in your house? And I'm like, you don't want to know.
I bet you never got broken into or anything like that either. No. They'd go, do not hit that house.
Don't go to that house. No.
You're going with it.
Definitely known as like the weirdo house for sure. So trying to explain that, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, well, my stepfather, he can only do it on this night, and he has to sacrifice it to the demon second of the devil and things like that. Like, it was crazy. And then
out of there.
Yes. And so I think that like tops the cake, because it's like that really set me up for like spiritual success, if you will, because it's like, oh, if I can handle that, like we had a magic room with like dove's blood and a black mirror, and we would do spells, and it was like crazy.
Right.
That's so cool though.
Yes, interesting.
Well, now I can look back on it and feel like, oh, that's really neat. But at the time, like I just want to be a normal teenager.
That's fair.
like the most popular girl in school gave me a ride home one day. And so just picture me, right? I am like a cool cheerleader. I'm with the cool people. I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome, right? And she drops me off at my house, and as soon as they pulled up, she's like, oh, do you live here? And then she was like, so like, what's going on? And she starts rattling off a lot of stuff that I just talked to you about, right? And I was like, oh no, those are the people who lived here before me. I'm like, that wasn't me. Because I'm like, come on, I don't want to be known as that.
I'm in the popular group now. Like, come on.
Yes, exactly. I'm not
Put down the sword.
Yes, it's not as like I think it's become a little bit more mainstream. Like you can buy tarot cards and oracle cards at Barnes and Noble, but that wasn't the case, back at this time. You know? Like I had my own deck of tarot cards, but it was like satanic and scary. They didn't have angel cards back then, and fairy cards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thinking of angels, have the angels ever told you to chill out, or is they as spicy as us?
Okay. Did you talk to my angel? Did my angel tell you to tell me to chill out?
Maybe.
Did my angel tell you to say that to me?
No.
Yes, I was going to say, I think so. Dude, first off, that's something that my spirit guide says to me probably on a daily basis. Yep. Angels have a tendency of being a little more sweeter, but 1000%, I talk to them just like how I talk to you guys. Mm-hmm. I'll be like, yo, Big Mike, Archangel Michael. And I'm like, you got to help out this shit that's happening right now, because I cannot handle it. Like, okay, I was at a psychic party, so I was doing readings for people.
Yep.
And it got late into the night, and I come home and I'm by myself, and I probably did about 5 or 6 hours of back-to-back readings. And so I show up, I'm in my kitchen, and all of a sudden I can feel a spirit walking through my front door. And I am like, what the fuck, right? Like, dude, like, what are you doing here? And I could tell that it was like, well, obviously it's going to have the same kind of personality as a person, right? Mm-hmm. Because you just came into my house unannounced. So that's already wrong. And then I could already feel like a, my shit don't stink kind of vibe from him. And I was like, dude, and I kind of just said, get out of my house. Like, you're not welcome here. And I kind of like half-assed it a little bit because I was sleepy, So I'm in my bedroom now, and I'm sleeping by myself. And all of a sudden I'm woke from a dead sleep because I can feel him in my room. Ooh. And I was so mad. I got so angry because I was like, I told you to get out. And then I yelled at my angels, and I was like, why the heck did you allow this in? because I was like, I already said out, but I guess I didn't say it like I meant it, so ghosts
Mhm.
sometimes can be like kids, and it's like you gotta like really talk to them right. You can't just, be a little bit more dilly-gaggy or whatever word you want to call it. And
Mhm.
so I sat there that night and I had my arms crossed and I was like, "And angels, now I'm scared, okay? Now I have this fear in me and I'm gonna sit here right now until you take it away." And I did. I just sat there and I think it took about 15 minutes and I was like, okay, now that's better. Now I can
Yeah.
go to sleep.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
chilled. Now I'm chilled. I'm
Don't-
right.
Don't make me count to 3.
No. What
Yes.
was your first like holy crap moment um as a psychic medium? Like you realize like holy crap, holy shit, I'm a psychic
Holy
medium.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, well, there's two things. Like, I think that the one thing that I think I want to tell you about though, because it happened in this room. This is when I was just beginning to learn and things like that. Because after my stepfather, I kind of, got away from it and I got back into it like around when I was 30. So I was in this room and I was learning that they can talk to you through electronics and they can like turn lights on and off and things like that. And I was like, oh my God. So I'm like reading this book right here, like just like 2 feet from me. I'm reading this book and I go, Grandma, my grandma's passed, right? I'm like, Grandma, if you can hear me right now and if you are listening, can you turn off the light? As soon as I said that, bam, it goes dark in my room. I am like petrified. I can't even, I'm so scared in this moment that I can't move. I can't do anything. Because usually you would think if something scary like that happened, you would take off running and you would start screaming, right?
Mhm.
But I am so scared. I've never been this scared in my life that I can't even move. And I'm like, oh my God. And in that moment I realized, I'm like, Heather, if you're this scared, getting a sign from your grandmother, like that tells you something, right? And I'm like, okay. And I took a deep breath and I looked up at the light and the light was on. And I was like, how the hell did it get so dark in here? This is crazy. It was because I was reading off of like a Kindle.
Yep.
And as soon as I said that, the Kindle's light went off and apparently was the main source of light for the room. And I didn't even realize it. So the light didn't even turn off, but I was still petrified. It still scared the shit out of me. I had still like pissed my pants over it. Oh my God. So that was like the
Okay.
waking up one.
Yeah,
Goosebumps.
I know.
Mm.
So what made you want to go from reading people to teaching them how to tap in?
It was okay. I worked for the army, right?
Mhm.
And they sent me to Virginia for about 2 years. And it ended up being a time of my life where I could just focus on me and do whatever I wanted because I didn't have any friends. My family was all back here. My husband stayed here and everything. So I got to join psychic development circles. And it was so funny. Oh my God, you guys would love this. You guys, I didn't want to tell my husband I was going to a psychic circle, okay?
Yeah.
Because like I can't tell him that, right? Like, he would judge me and things like that. And so I told him I was going to meditation class, all right? And it was kind of early, so I didn't text him. And so, you guys, I'm in the middle of this class and it was like running a little late. So I kind of just, went off to the side and went to the bathroom and I grabbed my phone. And when I grabbed my phone, I had about a dozen missed calls from the Virginia Police Department because they were like, your husband has called us so much and sent us your grid coordinates because he knew where I was on my phone. And he
Oh,
was like, and he is certain that you are being held against your will and that you have been kidnapped. And
oh,
so now if you do not respond within a certain amount of time, he was like, we will be sending police officers out there. And I am like, oh my God. And so luckily I was able to stop the cops. I called the cops back right away and I was like, no, I'm not being held against my will, like, and so then I like called up my husband and I'm like, dude, I told you that I was going to meditation class. He's like, but you weren't answering your phone. And I'm like, because I was fucking meditating. And then and then just imagine the time that goes by and I find out that I am psychic, like I can do this. Like I can do this. I know how everybody could do it. And that's the answer to your question was that I learned that everybody could do this. And then I'm like, oh my God. And so that's when I start inspiring because if you know how to open up to your gifts, you'll be able to, not doubt yourself, have stronger intuition, be a bullshit detector, you'll be able to know when to make decisions and stuff. And so now it's been months and now I gotta confess to my husband that I haven't been going to meditation class.
no.
I've been training to be a psychic. And so at this time we've been married for 5 years. And so I got him drunk at Buffalo Wild Wings and I started telling him and I got drunk too. Because I'm like, honey.
And then you had to seduce him.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Because The only other time that we ever talked about this stuff was like a couple years prior at a friend's wedding. We stopped off at this metaphysical store, and this chick started saying, "Hey, I could get, do a tarot card reading." And so I bought one. And my husband was like, "You believe in that stuff?" He's like, "You're really gonna do it?" Which is hilarious now, knowing what I do. Like we never had an idea. So it's like for me to get him drunk and be like, "I can see your aura." Yeah. And then you guys, it became so crazy. So started developing my gift more. So now anytime that we went out, my husband would be like, "Is there any ghosts here? How about that person?" So now I'm not sure if you guys have Black Rocks there, but Black Rock is a big restaurant chain.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
No, we don't.
Okay, so it's like a big restaurant chain, and so we're like at a bar having a drink or whatever, and the next thing you know, with permission, right? It's not like it's, like in the movies, but I am like reading the bar back, because his grandmother came to me, and then I asked him permission or whatever like that. Meanwhile, like I'm like talking to him, and my husband's over my shoulder asking the guy, "Is that right? Is that right? Is that true? Is that true? Is this right? Is this right?" And I am like, "Oh my God!" So date nights became very, very crazy. Like my husband ended up being on the other side of the fence than on the fence, and now he's one of my biggest fans. To
Yeah.
where like he outs me all of the time. Like,
Yep.
I'm gonna tell you guys something. Like I have like a really good career, like army career, so good at it. I am like badass in that area. And even when we're at military events where my husband can brag about my military career or whatever, does he? No. No. He'll be like, "She talks to dead people. You should get a reading from her. Like she's really good." And I am like, "Mother, like, why are you doing this?" So yeah, so then as soon as I realized that I like everybody can do it, that's when I decided like that's like my passion, because it's like I once had a reading and they brought forth my grandmother, and I didn't want to leave because I felt like I was leaving my grandma. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, my grandma's not going to stay with him. He's going to stay with me. And life just is so much easier when you're like in that spiritual connection. So that's why I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah.
Of course.
I love it.
Oh my God. Well, what's one spiritual myth you love busting?
Oh, a spiritual myth I love busting. Oh, there was one. Oh my gosh. There's so many of them because the number one that everybody has gifts, like they think that it's for the select few. I used to sit there and just watch all of these mediumship shows like Long Island and stuff like that, Long Island Medium and Tyler Henry and stuff like that. And I'm like, I want one of them. I want to be one of them. And it's like, yeah, you totally are one of them. Everybody is. The other thing too is like it's not like how they portray it. It's not like, you see somebody and like that's it and you start talking to them that way. That's not how it goes. It's all through like thoughts. It's all through impressions. It sounds like you are like making it up and things like that. And then one thing that does kind of irritate me, I'm not sure if it's a myth busting thing, but it's like it's not all love and light. It's like,
Yeah.
and I know it scares some people, but the thing is, like, when I worked with my stepdad, who was a sorcerer, that was not good magic, like
Yeah.
it's almost like what kind of people are you going to hang around? Are you going to hang around like the good, happy people, or are you going to hang around the low vibrating, yucky people,
Yeah.
And so I was hanging out with the yucky people, and so now I'm hanging out with like the angels, high vibrating, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
Ooh,
Yep.
but some more might come to me too, because I gotta think. Oh, do we want to talk about
Yeah,
Yeah, we want to talk about
absolutely.
that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we
Take it
need to
away.
talk about that.
Yeah. Take it
Okay,
away.
what this is like a huge one. The thing is, can you have sex with ghosts?
Yeah.
And so now here's the thing is I'm a logical medium, right? So
Mhm.
I'm one of them that's like, I'm not all fluff. I'm not gonna like some of that stuff is just like way too woohoo for me. And so the thing is that people are like, well, you can't have sex with a ghost because that is a trait of a human, right? That's not a
Yeah.
trait of a spirit. They don't have a body, so they can't. But the
Yeah.
thing is that what many people will agree upon is that lower vibrating, entities and things like that, they'll hang around people that have the same addiction like they did. So if you might have a ghost that hangs around a person who is an alcoholic because they were an alcoholic and they could feed off of that energy, or somebody who is addicted to sex, or somebody who is addicted to drugs or whatever. So they might have someone attached to them that had the same addiction. Well, guess what? The same thing goes with having sex with a ghost, right?
Wow.
Because some of them, that's what they like. They like that pleasure. So they might go ahead and attach onto a human. But now the truth is that I know without a doubt that you can have sex with a ghost because I did.
Stop it.
And I
Woo!
did, and I didn't realize that's what was happening. And so it's like, how do you have sex with a ghost and you don't know it? Oh my God. Okay, you guys want to hear the story?
Yeah.
Okay, so I am laying in bed and I am like, just sleeping or whatever, and my husband starts cuddling up behind me, almost like spooning me,
Hmm.
and he starts getting kind of randy, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, like why not? Like middle of the night sex, like why not?
Yep.
Like, that's kind of cool. And so we start having the fun and that kind of thing. And that's when I'm like getting kind of into it. And all of a suddenly I look up at my fan and I realize that's my fan from my Virginia apartment. I'm in Virginia right now. I used to fly back and forth to see my husband from Virginia to Michigan. My husband wasn't in Virginia. My husband was in Michigan. So
Oh,
who's in bed with me right now?
I'll stop
And
it.
that's when I
Oh,
realized there was a ghost in bed with me, penetrating me
oh,
Stop.
like a
wow.
human. I could feel it. And then I got scared. I froze,
Yeah.
right? And so I just froze and I am like, oh my God, I am literally having sex with a ghost right now. Like this, like, ooh, like I almost like blacked out for like the rest of it because I was just like so mortified. I'm like, is this really happening?
Yeah.
And so then the next day I go into circle, my psychic circle, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And they're like, we think it was an attachment to a necklace. Did you recently just get a necklace? And I'm like, that is so crazy because my mom just sent me a necklace. And I know that she got it from overseas or something along those lines. And so I got rid of that necklace and it never happened again. But the thing is that like there's so many psychics out there that say like, oh, that's not possible. You can't do it. But it's like, it did. It
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
And and then I had to tell my husband I cheated on him
I was
Yeah.
with
just
the
about to say
ghost. So
that.
so I was just thinking about that and I was like, man, he didn't say much, but I'm thinking to myself, what could he say? Like, he
Okay,
didn't sign up for
sweetheart.
this.
Time
Yes.
for sleep
Like,
now.
you see? And so and it was so funny because I think like this was only like maybe 6 months into my spiritual journey. Like he had just found out that I was a psychic medium, and now a few months
And
later
now,
I'm having sex with ghosts,
yeah.
and he's probably like, "What the fuck did I sign up for?"
Where was that in the contract?
Yeah.
Yes, but you guys, it was so real. Number one, I was not sleeping. None of this was sleeping. When you're awake. But
Yeah.
I mean, like it was such a dense energy feeling that it felt tangible, like real.
Yeah.
Does that make
Hmm.
sense? Like you
Yeah.
Yeah.
could actually touch it. Like and I could feel the weight of the spirit inside of the bed with me, like the whole thing.
And the
Like and it
warmth,
took me like
I guess.
months
Wow. Could you
to
feel the warmth? Was it like
Oh
a
yeah.
calming
Like,
energy? Yeah.
yeah, wow.
Like if you think about it, like I literally thought it was my husband, because
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
cuddling up to me and that kind of stuff and doing like, like okay, spoon position, like and
Yeah.
I'm like, all right,
So what do you do
What-
then? Do you go to a forest full of sage?
Yes, yeah.
Depends how good it was.
I
How
actually
good
did
was
sage.
Sage, sage, burn that forest. I'm going.
Burn it, burn it.
Hard
Oh my
with the
God.
sword.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. And so luckily, like it hasn't happened again. But then you hear all these stories now of people who, have regular visits with ghosts, and
Mm,
that is what they do.
yeah.
Oh, and then like here's another question too. What if the ghost used to be a prostitute? So you don't think that they, keep on, doing what they
Keep on
do?
keeping on.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yes. Those gigolos out there?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the funny thing, where we work in an adult store, there is a funeral home next door. So we will have random things happen that
Yeah.
is not explainable. It's no wind, no vibration, nothing.
Yeah.
It's just weird things can happen
It's as if the curious have popped over for a
Yes.
visit and gone, ooh.
before they take off.
Yeah.
dude, I want to see like that old conservative grandma
Pretty
visit
much
your
we feel
store
it is.
from the
Yep.
funeral home.
Yeah. It's mainly vibrators that do fall off the wall.
Yeah.
It's none of the masturbators.
No, it's never guys.
It's never the male products, it's
No.
the female products that fall off the wall or off the shelves.
Yeah.
And we turn around and go, oh, okay, popping in for a visit. It's time for you to go back over there now.
I usually
Oh
walk
my
over.
God.
I'll walk over going, please, I just straightened that.
Did you straighten that? Do
Yeah.
you ever think about what they're doing with those things?
I need to think of
Forgot to sanitize it before I popped it back up. No.
We don't want people thinking our products are used,
No.
but they're not
Oh.
used. No.
Just put a sample, like some kind of like plug or something, and just sit it down on the table so the ghosts can have some fun while
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
the store's closed.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
pretty sure
yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
No, because sometimes we'll come in the morning and open up the store, and then there'll be certain things on the floor. It doesn't happen all the time. It's just here and there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting.
And it can't have fallen
Yeah.
off the shelf. Like it's unexplainable, but we sort of get it because of
Yeah.
what's next door. So
We're open to it, so
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, okay.
yeah.
Well, they say that after you pass, you might linger around for a little bit with family, you might like stay for your funeral. And so then if like my family is like having a lot of meetings at the funeral home or whatever they're doing, then there's a sex shop next door, like totally I'm gonna go and check it out.
Yeah.
Like it's something to do.
There has been people that have gone to a funeral and then they've come in, and so one of my big things is like, "Hey guys, how are you?" and start being all chirpy, and you think, Ness, they just walked over from a funeral. How do you think they are? Like, welcome? I don't know.
True.
This will make you feel better.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
blindfolds are over here.
Oh my God.
Oh dear. Well, what are we up? Gosh, we get sidetracked Sally here.
I love it.
Okay, why do you think so many people feel disconnected from their spiritual side?
Oh my gosh. Hollywood.
Mhm.
Number one, Hollywood. Hollywood, they make me so mad. They keep on making movies that are all about like demons and possession, and they warp everything. And I feel like it makes people like either scared, apprehensive. Like the new movie The Tarot, right? I was like, oh my God, there's a movie called The Tarot. That's so cool. And then all it is about murdering people,
Oh
coming out
gosh,
of the
yeah, right.
card. Yes. And then it's like, oh, like there was one of them that I watched and it was like channeling Mother Mary and it was healing. And then come to find out it was really the devil. And I'm like, oh my God. Like it just
That's
gets
so wrong.
so yes,
Yeah.
I am like that's not my life. In fact, it's like I think that, my life has gotten so much better since I opened up spiritually. I used to have a whole bunch of health issues and everything like that. Now my health has gotten better. Like I have more money now. I have more time now. I have more everything. Even helped out like my son. Because remember, I didn't wake up until I was like 30. I had my son at 19. And so also, this is great, you guys. This is really, really good. Is that you need to learn your psychic abilities because then you can tell your children that you know everything because you're psychic, whether or not that's true or not, right? So I'm going to tell you guys a story because my son was about 8 or 9, 10, 11, 12 when I started opening up, and he would always help me out with like psychic fairs and things like that. So he got on board like pretty quickly with this kind of stuff, but he still was very apprehensive. But I can connect to him at any time and I can find out like what he's doing, right? So I love that, So especially if you're worried about someone, like I would always like worry about my husband because he's not answering my calls, and instead of calling the police like he did, right? I will just like tune into him and I'll be like, oh, okay, he's sleeping. Yep. And sure enough, I get the call. He's like, oh, sorry, I fell asleep. I took a nap. So like with my son, one day he's like, I don't know why he's out in his car and he's doing stuff. And because he had just got a new car and I connected to him and something was wrong, right? Something was wrong. And he comes home late that night and I'm like, what happened? And he was like, nothing, nothing, nothing. I'm like, were you drinking? Was it drugs? What was happening? And he was like, no, he's like, nothing was going on. And I was like, well, I connected to you and something was going on. So what's going on? He was like, Mom, I don't have to tell you nothing was wrong. And I'm like, fine then. I was like, I guess I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. He confessed to me to like 2 weeks later that he went ahead and accidentally he was doing donuts on purpose, but then accidentally drove his car into a ditch because of it. And it was his brand new car that he just got. And so he was like freaking out about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the cool story I wanted to tell you. So I have established that I have these abilities with my kid, right? But one day he walks into the living room. Like he's like 18 years old at this point, right? He hadn't quite fully moved out. But he lifted up his arm, right? And when he did that, I could see that he had hickeys all over his stomach. And I was like, what the? So as a good mom, I don't say anything. I'm going to use this to my advantage later,
Yeah.
right? So like a day or so goes by and he's like, hey, I'm going to go to my, whatever friend's house. And I'm like, oh, so you can get more hickeys? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I know about the hickeys all over your stomach. He's like, what? He's like, how do you know? He's like, are you watching me when I'm sleeping? How the hell do you know that? And I'm like, I know exactly where they are. They're here, here, here. And I was like, lift up your shirt. I was like, prove me that you don't have them. He was like, no. He was like, how do you know this? I'm like, because I'm psychic.
Yep.
I love that.
I'm psychic, man. And to this day, he still thinks that I know that because I'm psychic.
Well, we need
And I will never tell
I'm
him.
so doing
gonna use
this,
that one.
even though my kids watch my podcast. But
Yeah.
yeah, anyway.
Don't fuck with it.
Well, first off, good kids. My kid doesn't watch my podcast, and hopefully he doesn't watch this one. Then I'm busted.
Oh God. What's the biggest lie people believe about developing spiritual gifts?
Ooh, that's a tough one. What's the biggest lie? All of it? I think all of it. What have you heard?
Well, a lot just don't really believe though. Like I feel I do. Like I can tune in when I want to.
Yeah.
And then there's been times I've just really totally chilled right out. But you know what? I just feel, yeah, you can. Um, in different
Ooh,
times in your life.
Mm.
There's certain times in my life I've had to tune in for things,
ooh.
you know,
That makes sense.
when you're
Yeah.
going through different things in your life, and I can feel the presence of my mum or my dad. But yeah, like it's those sorts of things that I know. Yeah.
Yes. And that's what I think too. It kind of goes with what I was thinking as well, is that it takes time. Or that it takes time out of your day, but it doesn't. It's
Mm,
like the reason why that you're more connected in some times of your life than other times of your life is because of how busy you are, how stressed you are, how open you are, sometimes even how desperate you are, for that kind of connection. But what I like to do is be like, I don't meditate, so you don't have to meditate, you don't have to do any of that stuff. You just have to be more aware throughout your day, and then
mm,
always play intuition games. And that's what I do. It's like almost like instead of just going to the gym, and working out for 45 minutes, do more things throughout your day. So the same thing with psychic connection and stuff like that. So I'm always playing this. Like I do like parking lot intuition, like getting the
yes.
closest parking lot.
I want that
Everybody,
park right there. I'm going to go around again and I'm going to get that park. Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
And then, intuition, like which line is going to be the shortest, when you're standing in line, what color shirt is this person wearing behind you, like all these things, the car in front of you, which way are they going? It's about being more in the moment so you can get those thoughts and things like that, because that's how
Mm-hmm.
they communicate with you, thoughts through impressions, and then strengthening up that intuition, because then all of a sudden, if you keep on doing this for a week, 2 weeks, or whatever, you're going to start getting that confidence within yourself.
Yep.
And then that's where it just explodes after that. So
Yep.
I think that one of those lies too is that you have to like meditate, you have to do this, and you don't have time for it. And I'm like, I hate that's my biggest pet peeves when people are like, "Oh, I don't have time to do it," and I'm like, "You don't have time not to do it. You're spiritual. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. Is the biggest
Mm,
part of you." And then people don't have time for that part, and then their whole life is like, man, if it's not crappy, then they're definitely living way too hard. Like they're living way harder than they have to be.
mm-hmm.
So like I remember one day, like, and this is like a perfect example, and this happens all throughout my day, all the time, but I'm at work and I'm working and my son calls me up and he was like, "Hey mom, can you pick me up?" And normally I'm like, shit, I got a big meeting, like I don't know if I can. And I start stressing out and things like that. And I talk to my husband, and me and my husband start getting in an argument because he's like, he can find his own ride home. So now I'm like fighting with my husband now. Now my son's waiting on me, and now I'm freaking like not gonna be able to go to this meeting, when what I should have done was just allowed spirit to take over. Just like say, just stop for a second and say, "Hey, what should I do?" Or like tune in. And I didn't do that. So guess what? I had to call my boss and I had to be like, "Hey, sorry, I can't make this meeting, yada, yada, yada." And I'm on my way to my son's school. I just left the house like 5 minutes and my son calls me up and he was like, "I got a ride, mom. Don't worry about it."
Wow.
I, j- I
Okay.
all that mess. Now, me and my husband are arguing. My boss knows I had an emergency. I couldn't make the freaking meeting when I could have just like chilled, And I do that all the time now. If I ever like double book or something along those
Mm,
lines, I'm like, "Hey, untie this mess for me, would you?" And just little things like that all throughout your day.
yeah.
Then I don't worry.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
Ooh.
Well, if someone's curious but nervous about their spiritual path, where should they start?
They need not to be alone. So they need to find some kind of group, whether it's a Facebook group, meetup group, they need to be with other like-minded people.
Yeah.
So here's the thing is like people who are getting the call to wake up, they have a light inside of them. And God, source, creator, energy, whatever you want to call it, the higher being or whatnot, it doesn't put light people with other light. It usually puts light people in the dark parts. So it's usually people who have had a lot of challenges, a lot of trauma, a lot of passings in their life or something along those lines, And so then sometimes they can't really always count on the people that are around them, like their family and things like that,
Yeah.
So it's important for them to be with people that won't judge them, people that are going through the same thing as them. And then also it would be to like get some kind of mentor. But the very first part would just be around a community of people that you can like, hey, am I going crazy? This lights are flickering, all this stuff. Like I know people that get so scared, just like how I used to be when they smell smoke. And they're like, oh, I smell smoke. It's a demon. No, it's not. It's probably your grandpa, your mom who used to smoke. It's those. It's not. They always go towards the bad. And I'm like, no. Like your past loved ones are trying so desperately to haunt you, but it's so hard because many people are so scared.
Yep.
That's it. Goodness, we could talk forever.
We could, but
if you say were changed or morphed into an adult toy, what would your preference be? Masturbator. I'm kidding.
Wait, are you kidding?
No. I said masturbator, and I went, no, I'm kidding.
Wait. Okay. I had two, but I want to be different. Okay, because I know a lot of people probably say like a vibrator, right? But I want to be different. I want to go with a yoni egg.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like why not? Because to me that would be like a little bit of seductivity, like that's not even a word, but I just made it up. So like it's about being seductive. It's about like working up to the main event, if you will, because I think that that's what it does,
Yeah.
And they can be really pretty.
They do come in different
They
colors.
do, and they're actually really a healthy product to use. There's a lot of benefits to it too.
Yeah.
See?
But yeah.
Good benefits.
There you go.
You should do a porn movie about ghost sex.
Ooh, wait, we should do a what?
A porn film.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I wonder if there is. Well, have you I just rewatched the movie Invisible Man with like Chevy Chase from like the 1980s.
Oh, wow.
And they have ghost sex in there.
There you
Right?
go.
Because he's the Invisible Man, so maybe not completely like a ghost, but
I'm going to go watch that. It's been years since I watched that.
yes.
Oh dear. Well, massive thanks to Heather for getting weird and wonderful with us today. Like this is fucking awesome.
And we don't think it's weird though, so it's different. We've been so looking forward to having this catch up with Heather.
Mm-hmm.
So if this has made this episode laugh, think or question your next shower, go hit follow and leave us a cheeky 5-star review. We see you. The spirits probably do too. So thanks so much, Heather.
Yeah.
We'll definitely chat again.
And they can follow you on the platforms and your book and just follow Heather, please, people. Amazing. The energy is just. I'm going to go for a jog, and I don't. I feel
me too.
healthy. Or masturbate.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I've got to be here for a bit. Can you not masturbate while I'm here? Thank you.
It's in front of the ghost.